Is Bitcoin ready for a new all-time high this week? This and also one very interesting looking altcoin are we going to discuss. The altcoin is really ready for a potential trade setup, and I'm also going to discuss a few potential trade ideas that could potentially send Bitcoin to a new all-time high. So over here on the 3-day chart, we can see that we are very close to a new all-time high, but we should not forget that we are now close to this supply area that we have over here. Okay, this previous supply that gave us that all-time high. We saw a local bearish liquidity sweep resulting in an impulsive move to the downside. Supply was really coming into the market on this small pump over here before we saw the move to the downside. Do not forget it. Do not blindly expect Bitcoin to go to a new all-time high this week. Play level to level. Obviously for spot is beautiful, guys, but I'm out here to take the best trades possible as well next to my investment positions. And what we are seeing over here is a potential range for Bitcoin, because if I take this Darth Maul candle over here and I take it from the high to the low, we can see that we have a potential range over here. Why do we have a potential range over here? Let me quickly switch on the quarterly levels as well. We can see that if I go on the lower time frames over here, is that these range levels were getting respected very, very well. Look at the mid-range. Resistance, 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 right? Resistance, support, 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 expand higher, quarterly level resistance, quarterly level support, resistance of the quarterly level resistance, 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 right? This quarterly level support and support. So we have ourselves a valid range because of that big Darth Maul candle. Now what is a Darth Maul candle? A candle with a big wick at the top side over here, and then also a big wick at the bottom side over here. Now usually, technically speaking, quite often we played wick to wick with these kind of candlesticks. Over here we are right now above the top of the wick. Guys, we can break out from here. The daily trend is up, the 4-hour trend is up, the hour 1 trend is up, but you have to realize something. I think that we are looking at a potential range. So am I looking to trade the breakout of the range? No, I am not. I'm always looking to avoid trading breakouts and breakdowns. I'm looking to trade potential deviations from the range high to the range low, or from the range low to the range high. But what I'm currently waiting for, and yes, this is a potential risky play, because like I said, the daily trend is up, our 4 trend is up, our 1 trend is up. But like I said, currently we are above the range high. I'm looking for a potential deviation over here. And does that mean that I'm blindly going to short over here, stop above the high and then target the range low? No, obviously not. That would be insanely stupid. I'm going to wait for certain price action to develop over here above the range high to give me some bearish structure over here, and then a reclaim back inside of the range would give me a trigger to short it towards the range low. Alright, so what I'm looking for, yes, I'm looking for a potential deviation, but before I get a deviation, before I get a trigger to look for shorts, I need to get a bearish shift structure to the downside on at least a 15-minute time frame, but preferably on a 1-hourly time frame. And that shift structure to the downside needs to also give us a reclaim back inside of the range. Now if we get it, then I'm going to short Bitcoin towards the range low, potentially lower targets. But personally, I expect Bitcoin to continue ranging over here for at least a few more days. Like I said, we can break out from here. But as long as I don't get a trigger to look for shorts, I'm not going to enter a short. And yes, then Bitcoin might continue higher, but then I'm positioned long on a few altcoins already. So I'm good either way. But if I get a very clear, high probability trigger to look for a potential short play, then I'm still going to take it. Because I don't let my personal feelings influence my bias. I simply trade what the chart is trying to give me. And I think that we are looking at a potential range over here. That also means that if we do get a move towards the range low, then I'm going to look for a deviation around the range low as well, right? So if we get that range low liquidity pool, if we do mitigate that range low liquidity pool, confirm the deviation with a shifted structure and a reclaim back inside of the range, then I'm going to simply trade it back up again. Once again, maybe people will get extremely bearish over here, but I'm simply going to give what my system is wanting to tell me, and I'm going to listen to that. And if it gives me that trigger, if it gives me that play of the deviation instead of trading the breakout or breakdown, I'm simply going to take the trade. Like I said, if we continue higher from here, it's fine. If we do get back inside of the range with a shifted structure to the downside, give us a clear retest of the range high, I'm going to target that untapped range low liquidity pool. And that could offer me a potential beautiful trade, right? So let's say we potentially retest it over here, sweep the high, reclaim back inside of the range, and I'm going to short Bitcoin over here, top above the high, target the range low liquidity pool, and that offers us a beautiful RR, guys, of approximately 3. And I think that's a decent probability trade with a beautiful RR, so definitely worth to take the risk. But once again, we're not there yet. I need my trigger. I need my system to give me a trigger to start looking for shorts. So the scenario is there. We are mitigating an important liquidity pool. I think there is a drawn liquidity to the downside with that unswept wick of the Darth Maul candle. I think the range levels are getting respected. All that we need to patiently wait for right now on Bitcoin is to give us some bearish structure above this range high, which is indicating absorption of breakout long positions, which is giving us an indication of potential distribution inside of that liquidity pool before an expansion to the downside towards the range low liquidity pool. And once I get my trigger, then I'm going to enter that short, right? I need that shifted structure to give us that confirmation. I need the deviation to give us that confirmation in order to jump into a short. If I don't get my triggers, there's no trade. The altcoin for today that we are looking at is Wu, guys. So Wu is looking extremely interesting. What we can see over here is that it's breaking out above this previous range over here. Okay, and as long as this breakout holds, we should expect higher prices. Now, what I really like about this price action over here is that we are seeing bullish price action over here around this range high, which gave us 1 deviation of the range high, 2 deviations, and then an expansion. So as long as this range high area holds, we should expect higher, because that means that we are breaking out of this bullish reaccumulation area. So I'm looking for longs on Wu. Guys, you can now also trade Wu, Bitcoin, and other crypto pairs on PrimeXBT. They're now finally offering crypto futures trading alongside trading commodities, Forex, and more. Definitely one of the most trusted exchanges out there. And if you want to sign up, make sure to use a link in the description down below and you will get a 7% deposit bonus. Now, lower time frame wise, we're also breaking out of an interesting range, which was forming around that higher time frame range high. We have our first pivot over here, second pivot over here, third pivot over here. A beautiful high probability range. Or we can see deviation of the range low, deviation of the range high. After the deviation of that range high, we went for the liquidity pool over here. Now, why was this a valid liquidity pool, guys? That is very important to know. A liquidity pool isn't simply determining a high or a low or equal highs or equal lows. No, liquidity pool is being formed by human behavior based off previous price action. Now, if we look at this previous price action, what do we see over here? We see a fake break of structure. Now, why is this a fake break of structure? For 2 reasons. It's a fake break of structure because we don't open and close candles over here above this high, right? We only close candles above the high, but we need candle opens and candle closes above that high in order to call it a valid shift in structure. Now, also, this high over here did not bring us to a new low compared to this low that brought us to this high. So it's not a significant high to break. So it's a fake break of structure. But Rito identifies this fake break of structure as a valid one and starts breakout longing Wu over here with a stop beneath this low or beneath this low, right? Or they pull back long Wu over here because of that fake break of structure. Either way, those stops of those invalid long positions are providing valid liquidity beneath this low and beneath this low. So what does price do after the deviation? It engineers this liquidity pool, then mitigates the liquidity pool, and then it pumps to the upside. Now, this pump to the upside is offering us a valid break of structure over here. Now, why is this a valid break of structure? Because this high did bring us to a fresh low compared to this low that brought us to this high. So this high has become a significant high to break. And also we open and close obviously multiple candles above. So now looking at this 4-hour structure over here, what we can see, bullish breakout above the range. This range was forming around this higher time frame range high. So a double confirmation based on my ranges. Now, as long as this range holds, we should expect higher prices. If we simply remove this range and basically look at the price section over here, what we can see over here is that we have a bullish breaker block over here. Why is this a bullish breaker block? We have this supply area over here, We had some resistance of the supply, went for a local bullish liquidity sweep, broke above that supply wasn't respected, and we have this bullish fair value gap aligning with that breaker block over here on the exact same time frame, making this a unicorn setup. Beautiful breaker block aligning with that lower time frame range high area. Okay, now that could provide a potential long entry over here, right? And this local bullish liquidity sweep gives us a very valid invalidation, right? This local bullish liquidity sweep means that we are also creating a lower time frame bullish order block over here. The last red candle before that impulsive move to the upside. We have a bullish breaker block, but we also have a bullish order block. Why is this a high probability bullish order block? Because while the order block is being formed, we sweep important and valid sell liquidity. We have a bullish fair value gap above that order block over here, right? That order block initiates an impulse that gives us a valid shift in structure. The only thing that is missing right now for this order block to become A+, to become 10 out of 10 and very high probability, is that the order block is currently missing an inducement. Okay, now for this breaker block we do have a valid inducement already, right? Because we have this low over here. Now why is this low becoming a valid inducement of that breaker block? Because of this fake break of structure that we are creating over here, and once again that fake break of structure is engineering liquidity. Lower time frame, we have sell liquidity resting over here for Wu, which might provide an entry point as well. Like I said, we have a clear invalidation over here. Now, since Wu is trending pretty strong, there's a lot of hype about it. I wouldn't be surprised if this coin pumps towards new all-time highs. So let's say we are looking for an entry over here, invalidation over here, then a second entry over here, same invalidation, and then as a target a new all-time high. So 82 cents is approximately a new all-time high for Wu, and from our first entry point it would offer us a beautiful RR of 3.8 for the swing long trade, and from our second entry point it would offer us an even better RR of 11.65. Now I think this is a high probability A+ setup. We have the higher time frame accumulation range followed by that lower time frame reaccumulation range around that range high of that higher time frame reaccumulation range. Both are seeing a bullish potential breakout, and as long as those ranges hold, as long as those range highs hold, we should expect higher expansion for Wu towards potential new all-time highs, which are laying around 82 cents for Wu.